started right at the top of the hour here. So my name is Katie. I am the residential sales manager here at GreenSpark. So if you are interested in solar or battery for your home, you would be hearing from my team. Today we're going to kind of go over how battery works on your home, what types of batteries we sell, the services that we offer with it, what you can pair it with, all that good stuff. There's also a ton of questions that we received before the webinar, so I'm going to try and hit a bunch of those as well. Feel free to throw questions in the chat. I might hit these first, hit the chat. We'll see what we can get done today. So without further ado, if you don't already know about GreenSpark, we have been in business over 20 years now, done over 1,300 installations. We've done almost 100 battery installations at this point as well. We are a NYSERDA Gold Quality Installer, which means that when NYSERDA audits our systems, we receive a high distinction on those, and we have received those high distinctions for many years. So that's how we've become a Gold Quality Installer, which kind of shows you an outside agency coming in, making sure the work that we do is up to code and ready for our customers. We are also certified to install all of the batteries that we are going to chat about today, Franklin, Tesla, and Enphase. So the main reason that you're going to consider battery for your home is for power outages. And we will talk a little bit more about this and received a few questions on this, but right now in New York, the way that general net metering works and the way that you give a kilowatt hour, get a kilowatt hour. So if you already have a solar system, you kind of already know this or are looking into a solar system. Every kilowatt hour you give to the grid through your excess production in the summer, you're going to get back as a full kilowatt hour. You don't get a lower monetary value. So if you have any family in California or Arizona or other states where the net metering isn't a 1-for-1, they probably have battery, and the battery is part of their return on investment. Here in New York, that's not the case. I have a lot of my customers ask like, hey, well, what if I charge it up in the summer and expel it at night and then charge it up and then use it at night, charge it up, use it at night. Now that's all fine and dandy here in New York for a few months out of the year. But if you've now gotten yourself to winter and you haven't been banking all of those excess credits with the utility, now you're in winter time with less credits because you were doing the battery thing during the summer. So we've analyzed it a ton of different ways. It doesn't really make sense at this point if you're on regular one-to-one net metering to use your battery as a monetary device. However, it does protect you from blackouts on the grid. And that's in two ways. One, it's going to keep your home up and powered, depending on how many loads you have on the battery, if you have the whole home on it, or if you just have a couple of critical loads, depending on how many batteries you get. It's going to keep those circuits up and running. And on top of that, the other reason is that it's going to keep your solar up and running, which a generator can't do. The solar is going to go down when the utility goes down, and that is purely out of safety reasons. If someone is working on the line in front of your house, assuming that it's down and it's a bright sunny day and your solar is pumping energy on that line, it's not going to be a good outcome. So when the power goes out, your solar will also go out unless you have a battery. So it'll A, keep the circuits connected to the battery up and running, and B, keep your solar up and running so that if the blackout happens during a nice sunnier day, the sun is going to hit your panels. Your panels are going to power your panel box. It's not even going to be using battery energy. So you might not even have to use the battery energy during the day, and it's going to power it back up. You can use it at night. If it's sunny again, you can use it on the home, push it into the battery as well. I'm going to answer one question here. There was someone that asked ATS. Don't you need an ATS, automatic transfer switch, which is in generators? With the batteries, they have their own version of an ATS. They each kind of have in the power walls, it's called the gateway. It's kind of like the brains of the whole system. And this is actually going to go before your service panel and kind of tells your home how to use electricity. So on a general normal day, sun's going to come in, it's going to go to the gateway, it's going to say, hey, it's a great normal day. You're going to go to your service panel, power what's on, and you're going to push all that extra out. And that's what I want you to do with the energy today. Then as soon as the power goes out, it's going to go, oh, within a millisecond, it's going to realize the power is out. It's going to now divert that energy to either whatever the battery is connected to, your critical loads panel with only a few circuits, your whole home if it's all backed up. So that kind of is your transfer switch, and it knows where the electricity needs to go. It's kind of like the brains of the system. Why add battery storage now? This is kind of your last chance to add battery, unfortunately, with the way that policy is moving and everything that we're hearing coming out of Washington. There's a really high chance that the 30% federal tax incentive is not going to be available past 2025. We are installing into September, October timeframe at this time, and we are cutting off installations in November so that our customers can get in, get installed, and then we can trickle into December to make sure everybody is fully installed to get that incentive so that you don't go into 2026 with your installation and potentially not get those incentives. So you really have just a couple weeks left with us to lock in a contract and then also potentially get that 30% federal tax incentive based on your tax liability. NYSERDA has also opened a battery incentive for customers. It is 200 per kilowatt hour. So for a Franklin, that's going to be about $3,000. For a Tesla, that's $2,700. And for one Enphase 5P, it's going to be much less than that. You're probably going to do two Enphase 5Ps at that point, and we'll talk about that later. So those are your kind of two incentives paired with everything, and we'll also talk pricing throughout this. But that's kind of the whole spiel right now on why you want to go with battery storage right now. We've talked about these are the three batteries we offer here at GreenSpark: Franklin, Tesla, and the Enphase 5P. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about each of those. So the Enphase 5P, what's nice about that is that it is a smaller size. For most customers, you're going to want two of these batteries. Two of these batteries has a price point of around $22,000 to $23,000. You get that federal tax incentive with it, and then you also get the NYSERDA incentive. What's nice about this is that most of my customers that we're installing at this point with a roof-mounted system is going to get the Enphase microinverters. So it's kind of all under one home, under one family, under one app, where you're going to be able to see your production, your consumption, and also your battery life. So it's kind of an all-in-one solution. This customer here, you see, got 4 Enphase batteries, so they got 20 kilowatt hours of backup power. Everybody always asks, and a lot of the questions that I got was, how long does that last? How long does that last? It is super individual on how long a battery is going to last. An average homeowner might use anywhere between, there's some days where I use 5 or 6 kilowatt hours in my home, and there's some days where I use 15 to 20 kilowatt hours in my home. Now, if I had a battery in an outage situation, I would probably go down and turn off a lot of breakers so that I'm not using a lot of the energy that I would. But if you're trying to keep most of your home up and running, you're going to need multiple batteries for that. If you are really just trying to keep, you go down to your basement when the power goes off and you turn off everything except maybe fridges, maybe your internet, a TV, a freezer, any life-saving equipment. We say that that could probably power you for about a day or so, but you want to keep a really close eye on your app. It also depends on if it's a sunny day. If it's a sunny day the next day and you can charge that battery back up and you can automatically consume some of that solar energy, it's going to last you a bit longer. If it's dead of winter, super cloudy, snow on the panels, you're going to want to pay a lot of attention to your apps and just make sure that you're not running your battery out. The batteries will not die. They don't allow themselves to die because they want to be able to come back up when the sun comes back out and it gets repowered or the grid comes back on. So they will shut themselves off, probably around 5 to 10% so that it can maintain its life for when everything comes back on. This one has a 15-year warranty and is an AC coupled battery. The Powerwall 3, this is probably the most cost-effective battery on the market right now. This is going to run you about $20,000 before the incentives. It has a 10-year warranty, and a selling point of the Powerwall 3 is that it does have an internal inverter. So if you don't already have a system with us, we are going to quote you panels, inverter, permitting, labor, all that good stuff. And you're like, I really want to add a battery. We're going to add a battery. We can take your inverter cost out because that is now looped into your battery cost. So depending on the size of your system, that could be $500 to a couple $1,000s coming off of your system cost because we're going to use the internal inverter of the battery. If you already have a system, that's totally fine. This and Franklin are going to be your two options unless you have Enphase. We can look at Enphase together. But if you are a customer that has an SMA or a SolarEdge inverter, we are not going to be using Enphase. We're going to chat with you about Tesla and Powerwall because those can work with third-party inverters. So we can put it on any existing system or as a standalone. If you're not going solar, you can still do battery and charge it with the grid. The Franklin is our other option. So this one is going to be the most costly of our options, but does have the highest kilowatt hour capacity. The Powerwall is going to get you about 13.5 kilowatt hours. The Franklin is going to get you 15 kilowatt hours. So two of those is going to get you 30 kilowatt hours. It does have a 15-year warranty. It does not have that internal inverter as Tesla did. The one selling point of a Franklin is that if you already have a generator on site and you want to add battery as well to keep your solar up and running, you can power the Franklin with a generator. So the Franklin is dying, it's super cold out, your panels are covered in snow. You can use that generator energy to power your battery, which then keeps your solar up and running if needed at that time, or switch over to the generator completely. So that's a really nice point about the A Power 2 is if you already have a generator, it can charge that, which our customers are loving. This one is going to be our most expensive option. It is going to run you around 25 to 27,000 for one of these batteries, but does have a couple of these extra options in here. So you'll chat with our team about kind of what the best option is for you. If you're looking more of a price point, we have an option. If you're looking at not wanting to use Tesla, we have Franklin for you over here. We've kind of already talked about the current incentives. Most of my customers are going to do a double Enphase, so that's going to be 2,000 off the Enphase battery, and then you get the 30% federal tax incentive off of that. So for a Tesla, it's running around 20,000. You're going to take 2,700 off of that, then do the 30% in tax incentive off of that. So we've kind of already addressed, can a single battery provide whole home backup? The way that these batteries are made is that they can take the amperage of backing up a whole home. Do you want to back up your whole home during an outage? Probably not. You want to make sure your battery lasts as long as it can, depending on the time of year. If it's August, mid-August, and it's going to charge itself back up, maybe keep the whole home up and running. If it's January, you're not going to get a lot of production. You're going to want to get downstairs and turn off some of those breakers and try and use as little amount of energy as you can. Where are they installed? They can go outside. They are rated to go outside, that's for sure, or a garage. We are not installing any batteries in basements at this point. That is because of the fire code around it. It needs to be in its own kind of sealed off, the fireproof room, but essentially like a drywalled room. So there's a blockage between the battery and the rest of the home. So pretty much all of my customers are either putting them outside or in their garage, as long as you have a drywall finish between, it can be, not attached to the home, or if attached to the home, there just has to be a drywall finish between the home and the garage. So that's pretty much where everybody's going to put them. Can you sell your stored energy back to the grid? No. So just like having credits on your account, if you have solar and you bank a ton of credits on your account, the utility's not going to give you money for that. Batteries right now also don't have a monetary value with the grid. In the future, this could change. There are a lot of programs in a lot of other states where the utility is able to tap into your battery energy during times when the grid is kind of overrun, and then they pay you for that. Maybe a monthly cost, a cost when you buy the battery, different types of things. So that's probably something in the future of New York, but currently it is not. So you're just kind of going to have it stored up, ready to go. If it's the middle of summer, it's going to charge up your battery, and your battery is just kind of going to sit there until it's needed. Every night it's going to drain a little bit because it is a working unit that is on. So it's going to drain a little bit overnight. You wake up in the morning, it charges itself back up. Drain a little, wake up, charge itself kind of through till the rest of the year. I think we could look at some questions here as well as talking about our process. So if you guys are on this webinar, you've probably heard from someone on my team asking you a couple questions, seeing if you had any questions to submit for the meeting today. And we're going to kind of look at your home, talk to you about which option is going to be best for you, and come up with which battery is going to be best and how many batteries you're going to want. So 2 batteries is not double the cost of one. One Powerwall is, around 18 to 21,000. 2 Powerwalls is probably going to be around 25 to 30,000. So it's not like it doubles the cost. So adding another battery is not going to be as much more as doubling the main cost that I've given today. So chat with the team about it. If you really want more backup power, we can add more batteries on. I think Tesla can go up to like 8 to 10 batteries, Franklin a bunch as well, and Enphase a ton. So we can add more batteries on for you. We're going to do all the permits and applications. So just like your solar array, battery needs a lot of permitting as well. We're also going to have to do the NYSERDA incentive for you. So we're going to handle all of that just like we did with the solar. And then we will install it for you. We have certified electricians and certified with each battery installers that are going to come in, install them, and also can help troubleshoot in case anything goes wrong. So, and let me go over to some of the questions and feel free to drop some in the chat if you don't hear me answer what you might have already submitted. What's the difference between my excess power going to the grid, do I get it back, and having a battery? So I think we kind of chatted about that a little bit. Going to the grid is going to get you those credits that you need for net metering, and going into your battery is just going to be kind of storing in the chance of a power outage happening. So when in doubt, you're going to want to push as much out to the grid as you can to get kind of those extra credits to get you through the winter time, especially if you're someone where you use more than your array produces or you use around the same as what your array produces. You're going to want to make sure you're pushing out as much energy to the grid as you can to get those net metering credits to use during the winter time. We are getting a solar installed by your company soon. Can we add a battery later? I read that the Franklin 2 battery can discharge 10,000 cycles. Does this mean it can be used every day, say like net metering goes away? That is a great question. That is another reason for getting a battery, is to potentially shield yourself if the net metering policy changes. The way that we read everything in the policy is that if you have solar right now, you're kind of locked into that for 20 years from when I think you had PTO or when you signed, when your system was put into place. So you wouldn't need it immediately, but after those 20 years, having that battery will be able to kind of shield you. You'll probably want another battery at that time, because the more that you can put in the battery and use, the less that you would be sending to the utility, either for free or a lower monetary value. So that can help you in the future. You can add a battery later as well. Like I said, the incentives might be a little bit different. The NYSERDA incentive, I think, will be around for a bit, but the federal tax incentive is at risk. But you can add a battery to your system down the line. In terms of like warranties for them or how long they can be used, the warranties were on the slide there. That'll be in the recording. 10 years for Tesla, 15 years for Franklin. But everything in our home, phones, everything has a warranty. This is probably way out of warranty at this point, but I'm still using it. So it's not like a warranty equals an expiration date. A warranty is just when a lot of the parts and pieces would be covered inside of it. But in 10 to 15 years, battery technology is changing pretty quickly. It might be time to adapt another one, or it's going to keep working. So there's really no reason at that point unless something goes wrong. Can you use and refill at the same time? That is a great question. So that is what kind of the brains of the system is going to be telling your system what to do. During the day, you're going to want to use all that automatic consumption from the solar, and then it's going to put extra into your battery, which if it's a nice sunny day, you're probably going to have extra, especially if you're being proactive in turning off breakers. So you shouldn't have that much usage in the home so that it can be storing as much that it can. Then when that's fully stored or your loads are fully met, it'll kind of hang out for a second until one of those are needed again during an outage. Got a couple questions on end of life recycling. Similar to solar, this is a market that's getting bigger with time because solar is not a new, but a newer technology in the world, and we're just starting to probably get to the end of the first big installations warranty periods and potentially things going wrong and needing to be replaced. And there are places out there that for a fee, they will take apart and recycle the metals. There's one here in Rochester that's started up that is starting to recycle lithium batteries. So that'll be something similar for the Powerwall Franklin and other batteries in the future. There will most likely be a fee to recycle that at that time. We don't know what that would be right now. Or I have a few customers that got solar 10 plus years ago. They're actually upgrading their system now, and they've donated their panels and inverters, and in the future, potentially batteries, to people that might need them or DIYers out there. So there's kind of like a resale market for a lot of this technology as well, especially as things get more and more expensive. Any caps on the NYSERDA incentive? Great question. There is a cap of $5,000. So if you install two Franklins, let's say, you're going to get a max of 5,000. If you install two uh, Teslas, you're going to get a max of 5,000. So there is a cap on that. There is not a cap on the 30% federal tax incentive. So you'll still get the 30% on the overall contract cost at that point. Um, Someone asked about VPP, which is virtual power plant. That is what I discussed earlier about the utility potentially being able to tap into your battery during certain times of the day to help when the grid is overrun. There is not a program yet on the residential side for customers to use for that, but they are working on it. They've already started discussing with a third party company to start working on VPP and DLM, direct load management type draws from a residential battery. But nobody has opted into that at the current point when they install a battery. Um, that was the automatic transfer switch. How long did they last? And I think some of other these are kind of customer specific questions. So if you have any customer specific questions, reach out to my team who has probably already reached out to you at this point, and then they can connect you with a salesperson to answer stuff for your specific location. I think that's all of the questions. I know we only had 30 minutes today, so I kind of ran through things a little bit quickly. But I will stay on for another 5 minutes or so here. Battery is pretty simple to explain when it comes down to it. It's going to be for your backup power, and it kind of does all of the thinking for you. My number one advice is always when the power goes out, make sure you're watching your app and make sure that you're using your loads effectively to get the longest time out of your battery during an outage. But if you're someone that only loses power for a couple hours here and there, your battery is probably going to be able to keep your home backed up for those couple of hours, as long as you're not using any huge loads or doing any welding during an outage. But I will stay on for another minute or so here if anybody has any questions in the chat that I didn't answer. Other than that, thank you so much for attending today. I believe they're going to be recording this and sending it out, and then chat to your salesperson with any specific questions you have. Or my email is here, just my full name, katie.stellick@greensparksolar.com if you want to ask me directly. Thanks so much for joining.